Today I'm going to show you the only 3 shots that you need to master to make your videos look like movies. Of course, there's more types of shots to learn, but if you learn these 3, you can literally use them for any kind of scenario and you can recycle them for all your videos, whether you want to make cinematic vlogs, whatever you want to make with those videos. These 3 shots are going to be essential. Oh, and I'm also going to show you what type of lenses you need to use to achieve them. So stay till the end. Number 1, we have the establishing shot. This shot here is literally self-explanatory. It's called an establishing shot. What else you want me to tell you? I'm joking. It's basically just a very wide shot that shows the viewers your subject's background, surroundings, and it basically introduces the audience to your subject's world or your character's world or your world if you're making a vlog. Now, this is pretty common sense, but the way that you would actually achieve this is by using, you guessed it, wider lenses. Now, I use a 20mm lens for my establishing shots, but if you want, you can use wider lenses, even tighter lenses. To be fair, you could get away with using like a 24mm or a 28mm. It all depends on where you place your camera. But yeah, if you don't have like a super wide lens, then it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you can't do establishing shots. You can still do it with tighter lenses, but it just means that you're gonna have to place your camera further away from the subject. But remember, if you use a tighter lens for your establishing shot, you're not gonna get the same result that you would with a wide lens. With a wide lens, the image would be quite stretched out. You'll be able to see most of the surrounding, especially if you're like really far. It's gonna look like really tiny and you're gonna be able to see a lot of that image. However, if you use like a tighter lens for your establishing shot, it's not gonna be as open. You're not gonna be able to see as much. However, you can kind of get like a stylized look if you use like a tighter lens for your wider establishing shot. For example, with a tighter lens, you get like a compressed look, and for me it makes it look like there's somebody watching your subject from afar. And I've seen it used in quite a few movies, to be fair, especially for shots where they want to create a bit of tension and they want to make it seem like the subject is being watched from afar. And I think, yeah, if you use a tighter lens, that does the job really well. So yeah, if you don't have a wider lens, don't worry, just place your camera farther away from the subject. Also, yes, it's called an establishing shot, but it doesn't mean that you have to use it at the beginning every single time. Sometimes it can be used as a last shot. So for example, if you have like a series of tight shots, can sort of build tension and make the audience wonder where your subject is, and then you can reveal your subject at the end of that sequence with that wide shot at the end. And yeah, that builds tension really well, and you can kind of use it to maybe have like a plot twist at the end. Just be creative with it, because yeah, there's so many ways that you can use this shot, so there's no point in limiting yourself. At number 2, we have the medium shot. Now, this is a shot that, as the name suggests, it's not a tight shot and it's not a wide shot either. It's literally right in the middle. It's tight enough to frame your subject in a way where the viewers can actually see smaller details like facial expressions or body language, but at the same time, it's wide enough for your viewers to be able to see a little bit of your subject's surroundings. I would normally try to achieve it with maybe like a 50mm lens, and with this you'd have to make sure that you don't place it too far away from the subject or too close. If you sort of place it in a way where you can see your subject from the waist up, then that's a good indication that you've got a medium shot right there. But it doesn't mean that you have to follow that very strictly. There's different other ways to show a medium shot as well. But yeah, don't limit yourself to just the 50mm lens. If you don't have it, it's fine. You can also do this shot with a 70mm or an 85mm or even a 35mm. It literally all depends on how you actually frame your shot or where you place your camera. So yeah, as you can see, there's literally different ways of doing everything. Like, you don't always have to follow one set rule or one set way of doing things. If you find a way and it works for you, just go for it. Yeah, this shot is probably the most natural looking one because you don't get the stretched out image that you get by using like a wider lens, and you also don't get like the compressed look that you get when you're using a tighter lens. And it can pretty much be used for anything, but for cinematic vlogs, then I'll probably say use it in a way where you're maybe in the middle of doing something, you're taking action, I don't know, you're washing dishes or taking a phone call, like something, just, you get what I mean, in the middle of doing something, you can use that shot. At number 3, we have the tight shot. This is also known as a close-up shot, and with this shot, unlike the medium shot, you wouldn't be able to see surroundings. This shot would literally isolate your subject or whatever you've got in focus and probably blur out the background as well. For those of you who love those super blurred out backgrounds, this is probably the shot for you. that's what's gonna get you that look. Because unlike the wide shot where pretty much most of it is in focus, with the tight shot, you've only got like a slight part of the image that is in focus. Everything else is blurred out. And obviously you need to bear in mind as well, if you're sort of shooting yourself or vlogging, then that's probably one of the most difficult shots to get right because of the focus. If you've got autofocus, then great, you're sorted. But if you don't have autofocus, then it's going to be a lot harder to kind of pull focus, because the depth of field is literally so narrow. And it's like, if you move forwards a little bit or if you move backwards a little bit, you kind of get out of focus. You gotta literally be like in the proper place, if you get what I mean. But yeah, the way that you would achieve this is by using tighter lenses. I would probably use anything upwards of 70mm for this type of shot, and that's going to ensure that you can actually isolate your subject and eliminate everything else, because like I said before, it literally completely blurs out the background and it puts all the focus on your subject or whatever you've got that's in focus. Because sometimes maybe you might want to use a tight shot to focus on an object, and that's really going to make sure that you're able to properly isolate it and put all the attention on that object. Now if you don't have a tight lens but you have a wide one, you're probably wondering, why can't you just place the camera closer to the subject? You can, however, you're not going to achieve the same look. If you use a wide lens and you place the camera close to your subject, you're going to get a little bit of distortion. For example, your subject is going to look like they're stretched out, and you're not going to get the exact same look that you would get if you use like a tighter lens. Personally, I don't mind that distorted look. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks stylistic, but it's definitely not what you want to do if you want to achieve like a natural look. For that natural look, I would say probably use 50mm or upwards, and then you'll be fine. But yeah, these 3 shots are basically shots that you're going to have to use. Like, you're going to come across them at some point, and there's pretty much no way around it. Like, you probably have to use these shots, and they're probably the ones that you're going to come across the most. So it's pretty important that you master them and you learn the different ways in which you can use them. And yeah, you can literally recycle them for all kinds of videos, for your vlogs. You know, you can start with a wide shot, then move on to a medium shot, and then move into a close-up shot. And you can literally keep recycling this formula and it will work. But obviously don't be too rigid with it. Make sure that you're sort of changing the order of things, and just overall just be creative with it. And yeah, there are obviously different types of shots to learn as well, but I would recommend mastering these 3 shots first and then moving on to the other ones. These are basically like your basic fundamental shots. But yeah, if you've watched the video up until this point, then thank you very much for watching. Your time is very much appreciated, and I ask that you like, comment if you've got something to say, and obviously subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.